Hello and good day. We're going to take a quick look at how to paint with layers, specifically with something that troubles everyone, how to paint white. The link in the description will take you to a tutorial that details painting both white and yellow in just a few layers. To start out, I like to get a little bit of a blob of paint on the tip of the brush. Next, I'll dip the blob of paint into a cap full of water, but the trick is only dip the blob of paint, not the bristles of the brush. If you get too much water on the brush, it'll become too washed, and you can tell you've got too much water on the brush because the bristles will actually tighten up and the paint from the tip of the brush will absorb into the brush itself. And finally, now that I've got some paint and water on the tip of the brush, I'll just use my palette to mix it all together. And now you can see as I apply the paint to the miniature, what you're looking for is that the paint's actually covering the dark colors below, but it's not beading like a wash would. So you're painting, it's what you're used to, it's just going on smoother than regular. What you'll notice is that because we've thinned the white, and this applies to any other light color like yellow, that you're not getting streaking when you're applying the paint. And that's the biggest problem when you're painting with light colored paints. So the water thins it out a little bit, but because we don't turn it into a wash, then everything is still nice and pigmented. If your brush starts drying out, no problem. Just hit the palette again to grab a little bit more paint and go back to your miniature. You'll notice that as I'm painting, I'm avoiding all the little cracks and crevices, all the shadow shaded areas, because those we want to keep the wash that went on the miniature in the first place, and that gives the nice shadows. All we're looking to do is add a highlight. Now you can see the process again as I need to get a little bit more paint on the brush. So I dip it into the paint, I dip just the tip into the water, and then I work it on the palette to mix it all together. Finally, don't worry if the colors aren't quite as bright as you'd like. Let the layer dry, and then later you'll go over it with a second layer, and maybe more, and just going in little steps, that's what gradually increases the brightness of these really light colors that are typically tricky to cover other colors without getting a streaky finish. And that's all you really need to know about painting with light colors. The water thins the paints just enough so that you're not getting a streaky finish, but thick enough that it still covers the darker shades below. And that's all it took to take a marine from a basic primed white with a black wash over top and then a few layers of thinned white. And it's worth noting, this is the same process that I'll use with any color, and instead of water, I use a slow dry medium. If you want more details on that, visit wargamingtradecraft.com for tutorials on that and a whole lot more. Thanks for watching.